Okay, so the topic I was given today was to talk about co-parenting. First, look at these earrings. I'm gonna show these earrings. Got these from my girl Monica. They say queen. They're cute. I know a lot about co-parenting. I've been co-parenting for almost a decade. Imagine how it's crazy how time flies. As you know, I'm a basketball mom, which means I'm a mom. And my son's father lives in VA, so that's not close, so we can't really do the every other weekend type of thing. But we do co-parent. It was really rough at first, and I think it is for a lot of people because you're dealing with the whole not being together thing, and a lot of times you don't want to be bothered with that person, period. And unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, but when you have a kid with someone, you can't just not be bothered with them when you don't feel like it. So I try to come up with 10 tips. I wrote some notes to kind of keep me focused on, I guess, some things to think about when you are co-parenting, or some things that can help you try to co-parent the best way you can. I mean, you can only control yourself. You can't control other people or what they do. You can only try your best to make the situation as amicable as possible. So I have 10 things. They're not really in any particular order of importance, except for maybe number one. I think number one is probably the most important because it's the thing that hinders successful co-parenting the most, and that would be getting out of your feelings. You have to let go of a lot of things from the actual relationship that you had. Now, even if someone wasn't in a relationship or technically what you would call a relationship, and you have a child together, there still was some type of situation prior to the child coming about. And you kind of have to let go of the negatives. You know, who broke up with whose fault it is, what happened, who lied, who cheated. You have to let that go. Now, if it's a case where you were being abused or something and you feel like there's an issue in terms of safety, that's different. But other than that, talking about how you feel and stuff, you have to let that go because the relationship is over and now the relationship has changed and there's a child involved. You can't let your negative feelings towards a person become so grandstanding that you will do things to spite them that jeopardizes your child. You know, that has to do with things like people not letting their kids, see the other parent, things like that. You might be hurting the other person, but you're hurting your child in the process. So don't let your bitterness or whatever you feel towards that other person put you in a position where you are causing pain to your child by trying to cause pain to that person. Just let it go. It didn't work out, whether it was your fault or not, or they were bad, this and that. You have to move on from it, and you have to move on quickly because there is no space. Usually if you break up with someone and you guys don't have any ties, you can sometimes, depending on the situation, come back and be friends and come back and be cordial because you had that space away from them to deal with how you feel, to get over it. With children, there is no space because they still have to have a relationship with their child and you still have to force that relationship. So there is no break. So you have to get out of your feelings. 2, you have to remember that you are a team. Okay? You're a team. The other problem that you find is that people start to compete with each other as far as being the better parent. And that's not beneficial. You guys are a team. Your main goal is to raise a mentally, physically, spiritually healthy person who can be a productive member of society. Okay? And however you guys can do that is good. One of you may have to have more time, be more nurturing, be the one that's there most of the time. That's usually the custodial parent. One of you may have to contribute more financially because you make more money. But at the end of the day, it's not you against me. We are a team. And you don't want to put your child in the middle. You don't want to make your child feel like they have to choose mommy or daddy. You know, they shouldn't have to. It's not their fault that you guys didn't work out and need to work together. You shouldn't override rules. I mean, when your child is in your house, they should have rules, but there's overall rules that you shouldn't override, and you have to present a united front. That means even if you don't like the way the other parent handles something, or you don't like a particular punishment or something, you still make your child abide by it, and then you speak to them on the side about what you didn't like and how to do things differently. But you never, because you don't even do that when you are together, because children play off of that. If they feel like, well, if I, go to daddy, he's gonna override whatever mom says, that it's not helping. And again, you guys are a team, you're not opponents when it comes to raising this child, so that doesn't work. So you have to let that go. Number 3, you have to be fair. And you have to understand that the child belongs to the both of you. Because too many times, and unfortunately I'm going to have to put this on women, too many times you hear, my child this, and my child that, and it's not your child. You gave birth to the child, you nurtured the child, but the child belongs to the both of you. The child shares both of your DNA, so you have to be fair. You have to compromise. Currently, because Justin's dad lives so far away, whenever Justin has a break, he goes with his father. So that means Thanksgiving, he's with his father. Christmas, he's with his father. He goes with his father for the summer. He goes with his father for spring break. I remember he was maybe about 2, maybe almost 3, when his father first asked if he could take him for Christmas. And at first I was like, whoa, Christmas? Like, can my baby for Christmas? But then I had to think about the fact that he doesn't get to see him often. And who's to say we can't have a Christmas when he comes back? Those are certain things you have to compromise, whether you work it out with every other holiday. But you have to compromise on that, on your time. And it can't just be you having your child whenever you want to have, whenever you want to have the child. Like, sometimes you're going to have to give up the time that you want with the child so the child can be with the other parent. Compromise. And you have to give leeway. You can't be so strict. I know you're supposed to pick your kid up at 6, but things happen. So don't try that, oh, it's 7 o'clock and yeah, something happened, but now you can't get your kid. Because once again, that has more to do with your feelings than, the well-being of the child. So again, you gotta compromise. You gotta be fair. Okay? Another thing that too many people worry about is the new person that the parent is dating. Listen, nobody wants a situation where your kid is seeing their parent with multiple people, running in and out. Everyone I date or have dated has never met my child unless it was like some serious type of thing where they just happened to run into me and see my kid, because I just don't feel like everyone is that important. But you cannot control what the other person is doing. And again, it's not your child, it's their child too. So too many people are concerned about who the new person is. Oh, if I can't meet this person, then they can't be around my child. You can't make that argument. And you could try to go to court and make that argument, and they're going to tell you cannot make that argument. Okay? Yes, it is adult-like and very nice if you can meet the new person so y'all can have an understanding. You can kind of feel them out, see if you have any red flags. That's great. but thinking that you're going to hold your child hostage from the other parent because you didn't, or because you personally don't like them, again, that has to do with your feelings, okay? As long as your child likes that person, and I mean, children may not like someone because they don't like the fact that that person is there and they want mommy and daddy together, so you have to decipher what that's about. But if that person is good to your child, if that person is not harming your child or damaging your child, that's all you need to be concerned with. I have never, been concerned with anybody that my son's father has dated, whether I have a relationship with them or not, or it's high and by, I don't care. If my son likes them and they're good to my son, that's all I care. The thing about it is you chose to have a child with this person, so you need to be able to trust their judgment. And if you feel like the person you're dating will date someone that will put their child in danger, then you have to question your own judgment, okay? Plain and simple. Not your concern unless it's harmful to your child. Mind your business. Don't worry about it. Moving right along, okay? Again, keep your child out the middle. The thing that bothers me the most is people who trash talk the other parent in front of their child. Don't do that, okay? Because one, your child loves that person, okay? And so it doesn't make them feel good for you to talk trash about them, okay? If the person you have a child with is a liar or manipulative or they are no good, trust me when I tell you that your child will eventually see them for who they are. And the thing about it is you have to understand, like with anything else, the way a person is with you is not the way they always are with people. So maybe someone behaves a certain way to you, but to their child, it's a totally different thing, okay? But like I said, children will grow to see things for what it is. My biological father, my mother never, now they didn't have a co-parenting relationship because he wasn't around. But anyway, my mother never, ever, ever, ever spoke negatively about him to me. She barely spoke about him at all. And when I finally got a chance to reconnect with him, there were certain things that I noticed for myself. When I became a parent, there were certain things that I realized for myself. My mother never played a hand in my thought process in regards to my father. Let's see what else I have here. Because again, your feelings, how you feel about that other parent is none of your child's business. It's not their business. It's not their concern. They don't need to know. You hate their daddy? That's your problem. You think their mother's stupid? That's your problem. It's not your kid's problem. It's not your kid's issue. Keep it to yourself, okay? Or try as much as you can not to say that in front of them, because children hear stuff and they repeat stuff, and that becomes a problem. This one's mostly for the custodial parent, and it usually works if it's a situation where there's a lot of distance, where the child only sees the other parent during certain times. You have to understand that you're not the fun parent, and your child will always probably prefer or be so happy and excited to go with the other parent and not so happy to come back. Why? Because you're the one that says you gotta go to bed at this time. Oh, you gotta do homework, you gotta do this, your household has more structure and rules, and it's not to say that household doesn't. But when your kid is on vacation, no one is bothering them about doing homework or making them go to bed at a certain time, unless maybe it's like the summertime and they have to go to camp or something like that. But you have to let go of the fact that you're not the fun parent, because they don't see that parent all the time. So when they see that parent should have a lot of fun things lined up to do. We going to the park, we going here, we going there, we doing this, we doing that, to make up for that time when you are like the everyday. So yeah, you might do fun stuff. Like I said, you're the parent with the rules and you're the everyday. So get over it and don't feel any type of way about it. It just is what it is. If they switched around and live with them, then you would be the fun parent. For the non-custodial parent, keep your promises to your kid. If you promise your kid you're going to come see them. promise them you're going to do something, do it. Because you're not around all the time. And they miss you. And it means a lot to them to be able to see you. But also, because life happens and things come up, okay? You need to make sure that you are the one that's explaining to them why you couldn't come see them or why something didn't work out. Don't drop that on the other parent unless you have a discussion with the other parent and they decide that they want to handle it, then that's fine. But other than that, it really should be your responsibility to do that. Because remember, you're a team. Ask your child about how they feel about certain things. Would you rather spend Christmas with me or with father, whatever, or with your mother? Ask them how they feel. They are an important part of the equation. Also understand that your expectations are not your child's expectations. Just like your kid doesn't really care if their parent gives you money or not. They don't care. They don't realize the importance of that because they're the kid and they're not paying bills and all that stuff, So you deciding, well, you can't have a relationship with your kid or you can't see your kid because you don't financially take care of your kids. First of all, legally, can't do that. Child support and visitation, two totally different things. But it doesn't matter to your kid. Your kid doesn't care. I had a coworker who had an issue with her daughter because the father wasn't always coming to see her as often as she felt that he should. But the daughter was always ecstatic to see him whenever. Your child's expectation and your expectations are not the same. They're a kid. They're a kid. They want to see a parent. And as much as it might piss you off that, you know what, he's not always here for this or she's not always here for this and doing that. Their kids' expectations are not the same. They love their parent. They want to see their parent. They want to be around their parent. All that other stuff is irrelevant. So remember, when we're talking about feelings, in certain situations, your kids' feelings are more important, not yours. With anything, I guess you can be mindful of advice, just like with any other relationship. Sometimes people have good intentions. I remember at the beginning of our co-parenting journey, it was rough. It was very rough. And I had people telling me, because I was dating my late husband at the time, that it's just too much headache, you're going through too much stuff. I mean, you have a father figure for Justin, so that's my son's name, so you don't really need him. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to be responsible. Now, it's one thing if that person is a danger to your child, like I said, that's one thing, but I knew in spite of everything he wasn't a danger to him. And he loved that kid. And I wasn't going to be responsible for them not having a relationship. If they weren't going to have a relationship, that was going to be his decision, not mine. It was difficult dealing with him in the beginning. And I'm sure he had ill feelings about me. But at the end of the day, I was going to make that decision. And like I said, people were coming from a good place. Oh, you being stressed out or whatever. But it wasn't the best advice. So, you have to be mindful of the advice that you take. And the last point. Till death do you part. Now, when you get married, that is a part of your vows. Till death do us part. Okay? But let me tell you something. Marriage is supposed to be till death do you part, but it's not the real till death do you part. Kids are the real to death do you part, because you can get married and it don't work out, you get divorced and y'all don't have any kids or anything, and y'all could go your separate ways and be done. Whether you were ever married to that person or not, when you have a kid with them, that's it. That's it. They there forever till one person out the equation is dead, and forget it if you got more than one kid. One of the parents is going to have to be out the equation for that to be over. It's the real till death do us part. You don't have to be friends. You don't have to do family vacations. Y'all don't gotta do. Y'all can do your separate thing, 2 separate birthdays, 2 separate Christmas, whatever. Okay, y'all don't have to be friends. Y'all should be cordial. You should be respectful, because again, you're gonna be dealing with this person till you die. So why make it a problem? Why make it uncomfortable? Why make it be an issue? Try to be as cordial, as respectful as possible, because you gotta deal with this person. I mean, when your child is young, you have to have a more active relationship, because kid can't drive. You gotta drive kid here and there. You gotta facilitate conversation and all stuff like that. But even when your kid is grown and out the house, they gonna have graduations. They gonna get married. They gonna have kids. Their kids gonna have graduation. Their kids gonna have birthdays. They might have family holidays. And guess what? Both of y'all gonna have to be there. So, it's something that you're gonna have to deal with. Anyone who's co-parenting knows that it's not easy. Y'all gonna get on each other's nerves. I mean, Justin's dad and I have periods where everything is good, and then it's an argument. It happens with any relationship with someone you have to deal with. You're gonna have arguments, but remember, your primary focus is this child or these children that you brought into this world. They are the ones that matter. And you can set a good example for them with your co-parenting relationship. Okay? Because they can learn that even if they have a kid with someone and it doesn't work out, it doesn't have to be you against them. It doesn't have to be evil. It can be cool. Even if you both move on and marry someone else, it could be a cool blended family and everything could be good. A good example for your kids. So those are just 10 little things I thought about to help people with co-parenting. Like I said, you can only control you. You can't control the other person. It's not always going to be easy. I think what made it easier for me was we broke up and Justin was young, so he can't even really ever remember a time when we were together. I mean, he would ask, why is it that, I can't be with you and be with daddy? And then once he started playing basketball and his father would come to games, he was able to have us in the same vicinity at the same time with him. So, he enjoyed that. That's about all I have. If you have any comments, any thoughts, you could leave them down below. Again, click like, subscribe, share. I will have the link for my blog down below. Every Wednesday I'm trying to answer a question or talk about a topic that someone chose. I'll have the email for you to email me that. Special shout out goes to Mr. Jabbar, because he was the one that gave me this topic, and I told him that I would shout him out because I appreciate him. So now I'm going and do something with this hair because it's looking crazy and stuff. So I wish you all the best of luck for all you that got to deal with co-parenting. Like I said, it's not for the faint of heart, but you don't have any choice but to be in it for the long haul. So make it work.